Survival games have always been a weird genre for me. You see, I have a sort of history with them, a polarizing one at that. Long story short, I have a couple of friends, believe it or not, who are really into them. Their main game has been Ark Survival Devolved, I mean, Evolved. In the beginning, I was there to play with them too. I enjoyed most of the game's aspects. I liked how the survival element forced you to continuously gather resources, build habitats, having the choice to interact with the other players on the server or not, the need to fight various hostile creatures just to stay alive. But over time, these things wore me down. I grew tired of the game, and it got to the point where I got tired of seeing the same aspects in other survival games. There was also a point in time where an angry player griefed us by placing a bunch of structures in and around our area, preventing me from being able to build anything. It ended with a massive Godzilla dinosaur destroying the place anyway. But the straw that broke the camel's back was when the others in this group wanted to try Atlas, the perfectly functioning game with no issues whatsoever, made by the people who made Ark. You can tell because it's literally the same game in disguise.
Now we are in-game with the controller. Look, now you press bottom. There's rejoin Atlas, there's join new Atlas, there's option, there's exit. And now press 1 times more on the button, and there is a hidden button, you cannot see this. Then enter it with the A button, and you're in an Ark menu. Hello! We are playing Ark Survival Evolved.
Let me tell you.
Good. When we're gonna be in the raft, it looks so good.
It looks so good.
Listen serious, everybody in you got must kung fu. The movie's on, the movie's on, the movie's on. The tiger is in the cage.
Russell.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's
This game was an absolute travesty, and the combined weight of Atlas and Ark's failures burned me out of the genre as a whole. So I left survival games behind, and went on to do other things. From then on, whenever they tried to convince me to play a different survival game, I would always turn them down because I hated the idea of having to do these things again. I didn't like the idea of having to gather massive amounts of resources, fighting off hostile mobs when you're so underleveled in comparison, the various meters that had to be balanced just to keep your character from exploding. I didn't enjoy them anymore. To me, they just weren't that fun. Sure, there was an exception here or there where I felt I could appreciate the game, but I felt like they were rare. They felt like diamonds in the mud, and for the most part, the mud was a roaring dumpster fire. But just as it all looked bleak, when all hope seemed lost, and I was sure I'd lost these friends to the darkness that is mediocre at best survival games, something interesting happened.
Yo, anybody want to play Muck on Steam? It's free and looks like a mean version of Valheim.
They're suggesting a survival game, and it looks like it'll be kind of fun. Initially, my instincts told me that this was just another trap to try and guilt trip me into playing a sorry excuse for a game. And, well, it is a sorry excuse for a game.
My name is Jeff.
But it's really fun. I was genuinely surprised at how much I enjoyed the loop of the game. You see, despite how it looks, there is actually some structure here. Muck is a roguelike survival game, meaning the whole point of it is to eventually die and restart your progress.
You can take those big monsters, bro. Back yourself.
Or I could just like run from them. Yeah, that's dirt.
That was a big swipe.
I
got fucking sniped.
You, and possibly some friends, begin the game doing the whole rust thing, where you spawn with nothing but a rock and you have to beat a tree with it. But this phase lasts for about 2 trees, at which point you have enough wood for your wood tools, and away you go. From there, you've just got to upgrade the tier of your tools as you play, alongside your armor and weapons. The weapons and armor you use are forged by the rocks you hit, like iron, gold, mithril, adamant. Hey, wait a second. This is like that other game. There's also cooking, and there's no recipe trees or anything, so you're just gonna have to figure out how to make meat soup and apple pies on your own. What else? Oh yeah, there's building, like Fortnite building. Yeah, that's a thing, but I think it's kind of redundant because the bad things just destroy everything if you're near your house. So yeah, anyway, what are these bad things? When the sun goes down, bad things spawn, and they're going to try and kill you. In the beginning, this is really easy to deal with, but as time passes, this gets more difficult, and it's your job to keep up. You may have noticed a bunch of these chests lying around the place, kind of like Risk of Rain. Each of these chests can be opened with varying amounts of gold to get different stackable power-ups, kind of like Risk of Rain. And each passing day will increase the strength and number of the upcoming enemies, kind of like Risk of Rain. You might be able to see a source of inspiration here. Along the way, you'll end up facing a few bosses, like Gronk.
Blue thing, sorry. Yeah, fucking do it. Spawn Gronks?
And Big Chunk.
Oh my god! Wow!
They're big bad dudes, but they have attack telegraphs and patterns, so fighting them doesn't feel too gimmicky or unfair. You'll also have your hunger meter to deal with. This is nowhere near as egregious as some of the other games, so don't worry too much there. Stamina is also just for jumping and sprinting, not hitting. So you won't find yourself constantly wanting for energy if you're in a fight smacking everything. Trust me, if this sort of stuff was anything like the other games, it'd be a deal breaker for me. Yes, the game has a purpose, or an end goal if you will. You want to get to a stage where you can repair the boat and move on from the island. But it's less about the end goal and more about the journey to get there. So, you may have noticed that this game looks more than a little scuffed, and that certain elements of the game, such as the max stack number, the ores, the mushroom names, are a bit weird too.
Ligma. Ligma, what you ask? Ligma?
My initial guess was that this was someone's side project, a meme game that they made for fun, that just so happened to be a fun game. Well, for the most part, I was right. Muck is made by someone called Danny, a YouTuber who makes games and stuff. He's got a video that explains what it is, why he made it, and how. It's short, funny, and really digestible, so check it out. It also gives a lot of insight as to why this even exists, and the game begins to make sense as to why it is the way that it is. Now, videos are surfacing about the game, like they would with any other new game, and they're blowing up pretty well. Maybe this could be the new game that you get to be one of the first few to play before it gets a little bigger.
It's time for Muck.
Muck.
What's a muck?
Muck. Where my muck is at? Muck.
What is Muck?
I don't know what awaits in store for Muck. Only Danny knows that. Hell, maybe he doesn't know either. It was just a meme game after all. To be honest, there's a chance that nothing really does happen with this game. It's made by a YouTuber who I assume is going to be pretty busy with other projects, and considering the game isn't monetized, they aren't going to be making a direct profit from it. So, after I recorded the lines for this and that sort of stuff, a few days later there was actually an update for Muck. There's now a new boss, armor, trading with some villagers and stuff.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
That's all new and sounds pretty cool, but in his most recent video Danny talked about how this is probably the last update. So maybe this is the complete game now.
This will probably be the last update I do though, because I have other projects that I want to work on, and Muck was never meant to become as big as it has become. But hey, Microsoft, if you want to buy Muck for $2 billion, I'm all ears, you know?
But in the meantime, what I do know is that despite being 70 megabytes in a free game that looks like a meme version of Valheim, Muck is pretty fun. Fun to the point where I now have to admit that I actually do kind of enjoy survival games. as long as they don't remind me of it. Fun to the point where I'm willing to take a break from other games I play and unwind with a bit of Muck with some mates. Look, this isn't me admitting that survival games are good, alright, don't make this get too huge. Muck is an example of what I think the survival game genre should be like. A game that's accessible, replayable, and has an end in sight. You know, I think that's really what the kicker is. The survival games that I enjoyed seem to have an end. A light at the end of the tunnel. Endless progression is good when it's something like an MMO, but when you're constantly asked to grind more and do more in a recreational game, it just doesn't appeal as much to me. This is the lesson that I came away from Muck with. Okay, though, I've said my 2 cents. Play Muck, or don't. It's your choice after all. But either way, thanks for watching another Spike the Bear 420 video. Maybe I'll see you in the next one where I'll be reviewing... Hey. If you stuck around this long, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, maybe consider checking this other video I made on another free game called Helltaker, also made by a single dev. I wanted to clarify that, while I did kind of shit on Ark for a lot of the video, I don't hate the fact that I played it. It was fun while it lasted, it just didn't turn out to be for me in the end. Anyway, that's all I really have to say for now, so until next time.